In this video, I'm going to talk about whether it's possible for you to make money selling custom G-Shock watches online. I first came across this video on Stevie Seal's YouTube channel where he was talking about selling custom G-Shock watches online, and I just thought to myself, damn, these watches look really good and I wanted to try it out for myself as well. So I spent the last 6 months and thousands of dollars buying G-Shock watches in order to kickstart this side hustle. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to know if it's profitable selling custom G-Shock watches and if this side hustle is suitable for you to start today. So the first thing that I started off with was the master plan. The main inspiration for the master plan was that I only had one income stream coming in, which was my job. And I felt like all these YouTubers, they were talking about all these different kinds of income all on their YouTube channel. You know, they have affiliate marketing, they have YouTube income, they have so many different things, but I only had one, which was my job. So I felt like I needed to bring additional income into my life, and I wanted to start a side hustle in that sense, which is why I started this side hustle in the first place. I wanted a side hustle which I could do preferably online or from home, because I was already commuting to work and everything like that. I had a physical location where I had to be, and I wanted something that I could do remotely from anywhere in the world. A little bit difficult now that I started this side hustle, but the main point was I wanted to start a side hustle that I could do from home itself, and I can do it online and I can make money online, a bit different from my main job. And since I came across this, I realized that I really liked the watch and I really wanted to start it off, and I was really excited to start it off because the watches were really cool in my opinion, and even if I didn't make money on it, I was okay just keeping the watch for myself. So that was the main idea and inspiration. So the main master plan was simple. These were the main steps. The first step was to research the most popular designs. So I would go to Carousel, I would go to eBay, Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace didn't have that much, but mainly Carousel and eBay. I wanted to see what were the designs that a lot of people were watching. On Carousel itself, you can see that there were current few sellers that were selling those watches, and if you look at them, there is this function on Carousel where you can press the like button, and for those watches that have the most like buttons, and in my personal opinion, I felt like they were the coolest, I would really mark that down, and I would do the same thing on eBay as well. On eBay, it's a little bit different. You want to see the ones that have watches in that sense. So a lot of people, when they press on it, they are watching that current listing in that sense. So they are really interested in that listing and they are really looking to buy it in that sense. Basically, on both platforms, they are looking to favorite the watches that they like the most. I pick those watches that people are either watching or favorited, and then I want to make a combination of those watches in order for it to really sell out the most in that sense. So getting the designs that are the most popular, that's the first thing. The second step would be to go onto Carousel. I was going to buy 6 watches to kickstart this whole idea. I'm not going to pour too much money into this side hustle when I don't know how much money I'm going to make at the start. So it's important to start small, but also go along the way and to make sure that, you know, as things, you know, work out, that I can always buy more watches. I don't want to sink too much money into it in that sense. After that, I'll buy around 6 to 8 custom bands online as well, and then I will customize them, take great photos of them, and then sell them on online platforms like Carousel, Facebook Marketplace, and eBay. These are the top 3 ones that I'm going to do. So if everything goes well, then we should be balling at the end of the month in that sense. That was the initial master plan that I had in mind for this G-Shock side hustle in that sense. Basically, the initial investment was about $1,000, and I was very nervous and I was very scared, and I wasn't sure if it would work because I've never tried something like this before. I've never started a side hustle with $1,000, and I was afraid that it would really fail because whenever it comes to money and trying something new, I'm always very anxious about it because I don't want to lose money. Who would, right? Nobody wants to lose money in that sense. There were 2 factors that really allowed me to take the lead into trying this side hustle. Number 1 was that I really like the watches, so even if nobody buys them, whatever it is, I'm just going to wear them and I'm going to keep them as my personal collection, which was something I was actually looking forward to, but unfortunately I couldn't keep any for myself. The second one was that Stevie Seals was already selling them online, and a lot of other people were also selling them online, and he was documenting his process and he actually made money from it. He sold, I think, 5 out of 6 of his watches, and he kept 1 watch for himself. So he managed to flip a profit of it and be able to bring home money in that sense, which was proof of concept that this side hustle can actually work in that sense. So that was really nice because I think I took many weeks to come to a decision, but in the end, I told myself to just screw it and just go for it, and then really just kickstart this side hustle in that sense. So these were the 2 main factors that was able to push me to make that decision to start this side hustle. And I also wanted another income for myself, that's what I mentioned just now. Which brings me to the second point, which is the journey. Going deeper into the master plan, which is to explore the journey, I was actually looking into the research in that sense, and these were some of the main designs that I found that were the most popular. This is called the Dark Knight. So it's a full black stainless steel. It looks very cool all around, and it's just a very nice, decent kind of watch. It is one of my favorites, honestly. Another one that's also very popular was the silver stainless steel with blue hour markers, and this was really just a classic as well. It was just a very nice watch as well. And the last one would be this black dial with white hour markers with a black rubber strap. I think this was one of the main ones that were also very popular amongst a lot of people that are watching these watches on eBay, especially some even on Carousel as well. But these three were some of the few main designs that I really settled on initially in order to increase the number of sales, or increase the possibility of the sales going quite well in that sense. So after doing my research, the next thing I had to do was to buy the watches from somewhere, and the place that I really settled down was Carousel in that sense. And basically I could find the watches that were the cheapest in that sense, and when I found the watches that were cheap, what I was going to do is I was going to negotiate with the sellers in that sense. And I think it's always very good because these kind of marketplaces allow you to negotiate. So never ever buy the watches at the full price, or rather your goal would be to try to negotiate down a little bit. So of course you don't want to lowball that person, because that person is very unlikely to sell it to you as well, because they bought it for a cost price, right? And if they bought it for a cost price, they're not willing to take too big of a loss unless they're really desperate. But it's always nice in order to negotiate. A good way you can negotiate is really to settle for the in-between. So what do I mean by that? Usually the watches, when they are selling for about $100, what I would usually offer them would be around $70 to $80. If they take my first offer, great. That shows that they are desperate enough to let go of the watch. But usually they will not want to take that one. They want to negotiate as well. And usually we settle for the in-between, which is around $90 in that sense. So getting that in-between, I still got a $10 kind of discount or even more, which is pretty nice. And if this person doesn't want to deal with me, then it's fine. I'll just find another person. It's a numbers game. If you find more people and you're negotiating with more people, there will be a few people who are willing to negotiate with you, and you'll be able to get the best deals. And that is where your profit margin is going to be higher, because your initial cost is going to be lower, and that's going to be nicer for you in terms of collecting more profits at the end of the month if you're able to negotiate better deals on these kind of watches in that sense. I also went for watches that I wanted to be new, because I didn't want to deal with any faulty older watches. Of course I would probably be able to buy them cheaper, but I didn't want to deal with any of those faulty watches, and I didn't know much about these watches, so I didn't want to deal with any of those things. So I negotiated for the best deals for the new watches in that sense. The next step would be buying the custom bands online. Honestly, I went online, I searched for the best deals, I searched for ones with the best reviews and price, and then I contacted them. Basically, you want to know that just like any other thing that you buy on Carousel, Lazada, or whatever shops that you buy, you honestly want to see that the product is the best price, and you also want to see that it has the best reviews that a lot of people have been buying from, and people are not saying bad things about them, people are saying good things about them. That's where you get the trust to really to buy from these people, which is very nice. Next were, of course, after I settled all the buying, I was to sit at home and really wait for the watches to really come and wait for everything to arrive. So on that very fateful day, when everything kind of comes in, you have the custom bands that arrive, you have the Carousel watches that arrive as well. Then when they all arrive, then you get around to customizing them. So honestly, I started off not knowing how to customize them at all. Of course, I watched TV sales kind of video, but I didn't get too big of a picture as well. I had to Google and go online on YouTube especially. There were so many tutorials to teach you how to customize a GA2100 G-Shock watch in that sense, in order to put on the customizable bands in that sense to get started. I had to learn how to dismantle the G-Shock watches and to properly assemble them and customize them quite well. And that took quite a while as well. I think initially when you first get started, it might take a couple hours just to do it. After a while, it just gets quite easy, because after you customize a few watches, it gets a little bit easier, you get a lot faster as well. I think nowadays I can customize them in about less than 5 minutes. It takes me less than 5 minutes in order to customize a watch. And last time when I was first getting started, I think it took around half an hour or so in order to customize the very first few watches that I was doing, which was a very long time. But it was enjoyable trying to see how we could customize the watches and make them more beautiful than before. That was a fun part. It was a nice fun process to really play around with the watches in that sense. After that, you're going to set up your Carousel, your Facebook Marketplace, and your eBay sort of listings, and also your accounts, in order to make sure that you're able to list all these things on these accounts. And this is where people are going to contact you. This is where people are going to buy all these watches from you as well. And then after that, you're going to make sure that you are looking at the progress of whether you're selling the watches or not in that sense. I think initially for the first 3 weeks, I was very hopeful. I posted everything online. I was just waiting at home every single day when I wake up. The first thing I'll do, I'll grab my phone and then I'll check my progress, or I'll check these apps to make sure if anyone was contacting me in that sense. For the first 3 weeks, nothing was sold at all. Nobody contacted me, or rather, I think some people contacted me, but on these kind of online marketplaces, you realize that there are some people who are just talking to you for the fun of it. They're not really interested to buy. Sometimes they just want to talk to you about it in that sense. And not a lot of people wanted to buy the watches from me. Nothing nothing was sold for the first 3 weeks. I thought I was done, and I was like, losing all my money, and I put all my money and effort into this side hustle for nothing. I mean, I had fun, learning all these different things and customizing the watches, but ultimately it wasn't something that was profitable in the first 3 weeks. And when I thought that everything was gone, I think I had to go back to the drawing board and really see what I could do better. One of the things I wanted to do was I readjusted the price, because the price that I initially set was a little bit higher. I think it was $250 to $230, which was a little bit high for the marketplace. For someone new like me who wants to come in and penetrate the market, people would rather buy from the more trustable, reputable sellers that have been selling for a long time. Their prices are a little bit higher, of course, but they were the big players in the market. So for someone like me, an independent person where I don't have a shop, I don't have all these kind of resources, I think the way I was competing was in order to compete with them on price. So I set my price a little bit lower than the rest, and then I think one watch got sold that week itself, and then another one, and then another one, and then before I know it, I think I sold all 6 watches in a matter of 2 months time, which was really, really decent. And I think this meant that the side hustle was a solid one, and it means proof of concept through my own efforts, which was very, very nice, because I was not looking at someone's progress anymore. Stevie Sales was telling the truth. I now know he's telling the truth, because nobody knows, right? He could just be fabricating it. I'm not accusing him of it, of course, but nobody knows what you can kind of trust on the internet in that sense. And before you even try it, don't just take my word for it. If you want to try it yourself, you must be willing to accept the risk and also accept that you might lose money from this. Some things that you might be doing may not be working, and you might ultimately not be successful in this side hustle. But if it's a risk that you're willing to take, then so be it, right? You need to accept the risk in that sense. So this meant that, having fun while making money in that sense. And every watch sold for about $50 or so, and I earned roughly about $300. So it was the most fun I ever had earning this $300. I don't think I've done any other things where I had so much fun in order to earn this $300. I'm not saying it was easy, but it was one of the few things that I could do while having fun and really enjoying myself in that sense. Which brings me to my third point, which is to look at the reflections and the mistakes that I made, and look at basically what went well so that I can replicate that, and look at what didn't go well as well. So I think, of course, I made money in this challenge. So being able to answer this question at the start of the video, I was profitable making this side hustle in that sense. And I think what I had to do was to reflect on what are the things that worked for me and what could be improved. So I think that some of the things I did well was that I set myself up for success in the sense of the preparation work. So I researched the designs that were good, I negotiated for the best deals, for the best profit margin that I can get, and I took decent photos and I posted them on multiple platforms that I could really sell online in that sense. I think what could be improved initially was the pricing. When I reduced the pricing, I realized that a lot more people were contacting me to ask for the watches, buy the watches from me, and all those kind of things. And I think initially as well, from an emotional point of view, I was too impatient. I was a little bit emotional and unstable and worried as well, because I was like, oh no, my $1,000, what if my $1,000 just goes away and I can't, recoup that $1,000 in that sense? That made me feel a little bit worried and scared. These are learning points, and I think mentally I can be a bit stronger. I can think of it as an experiment and experience, and instead of rather just to earn a lot of money, my main purpose was also to earn money, but also to have fun and see if I can start a side hustle online to earn money in that sense, which was quite successful. I would think I sold all the watches, which was pretty nice. I think some of the things I really learned was that Carousel and Facebook Marketplace worked quite well for me in terms of selling the watches. eBay, not really. There wasn't any views on eBay at all, so maybe I need to explore on how I can maximize eBay platform in that sense in order to sell these things, because Carousel and Facebook Marketplace only, I think it was more situated for the people that's in Singapore, the people that are around me in that sense, while eBay was a bigger marketplace. It can cater to the whole world. So if I'm able to penetrate through eBay, I'll be able to get more sales in the future and to be able to sell more watches in that sense, rather than just keep myself situated just in Singapore for all the local kind of buyers in that sense. Planning for the future as well, I think some of the things that I want to try out is to try some other designs that I think are fun and interesting to me. Going through that same process in the master plan of trying to find the watches that were both interesting to me and also popular in the marketplace. A lot of people are watching it in that sense, so that I can potentially sell them for good profit in that sense. One thing I'm also going to do is perhaps pricing wise, I can set it just a bit higher as well in order to undercut the big competitors but still remain competitive enough that I can earn some profit, so that I can sell it a bit more expensively. I can really earn a bit more profit in that sense. Probably spend a bit more time on eBay as well to see if I can bring more views into my listings on eBay. I think if you're really interested to start this side hustle as well, all. This master plan that I've highlighted on YouTube itself is free for you to use. Go ahead and use it, and hopefully it works for you as well. Let me know in the comments down below if you're starting this side hustle, or if there's any other side hustles that you are interested for me to explore or to potentially talk about it, or even just look at it in that sense. And of course, most importantly, I think you need to take proper pictures, post them to multiple platforms, and be patient and be responsive. Don't make the same mistake as me, be very worried and uptight about it, and so impatient and make myself so anxious about it in that sense. There's no point in doing all that. I'll definitely update you guys on this entire journey by documenting my whole process here on YouTube, so definitely subscribe if you want to know more about all these side hustles and stuff like that. If you enjoyed this video, then you probably enjoyed this video right here where I talk about how I made my first $100,000 in my 20s. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Bye bye!